Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today is the day after Lughnasadh, and that's because I'm in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then it's the day after Emilk. But here it was the day of Lughnasadh, which is the first harvest festival. And so I had a really good time yesterday. We had fresh bread and we had fresh corn. Honestly, fresh corn from wherever you are. We had fresh Ontario corn. It was so good. So enjoy wherever you are if you can get something like that. Anything, like any fresh vegetable is always good. So I thought we would do harvest readings today. The interesting thing about the harvest, as far as Lughnasadh is concerned, is that whole extra element of that it's death that feeds life. In terms of like you take care of these things, you grow them, and then you have to kill them so you can eat them so you can live. So, and it's plants, but it's still like that's, there's an element of that. And so that whole aspect of things, I went through my cards and I found harvest cards, which was actually harder than I thought it would be. I really honestly thought every card would have a harvest. Every set of cards would have a harvest card, considering that the runes have a harvest rune. Even the witches' runes have a harvest rune. So, oh well. So anyway, I was finally able to find 4 harvest cards. We have the harvest card from the Gentle Creatures deck. We have the seasonal harvest card from the Everyday Witch Oracle. We have the corn card from the Forest Magic deck, which I'm working on studying, so I will use them eventually, but we have corn. And we have the Lady of the Harvest from the Fairy Oracle. So feel into the cards. One of these cards will have a message, one or more of these cards will have a message for you about whatever it is that you are currently harvesting or having your first harvest of. So I will put the timestamps in the description, and I will see you at the readings. Bye. Hello to those of you who chose the card number 1, the card from the Gentle Creatures, the harvest card from the Gentle Creatures Oracle deck. So let's get some runes down. I am using the runes, the Elder Futhark on bone this time, because I thought it would capture that that interesting element of first harvest where you're taking care of the thing, but now it's like the whole John Barleycorn thing, where you were taking care of it, but now John Barleycorn has to die, so that we can enjoy him. So, although I don't drink, so I mean I don't drink like alcohol. I don't drink wine. I don't drink alcohol, so that element of it was off for me. But I still enjoy the corn and the fresh bread. So here we go. So your central issue, card number 1, people, is Isa. Isa is the rune of ice. Ice is the rune of standstill. This has to do with stillness, but also the stillness through which clarity comes. However, you're in a situation where you are really very much in the moment. You're really being still in this moment of, like the little creature is here. I don't know how little that creature is actually, but like the creature is in this picture where it's sort of this moment. It's like almost like it's holding vigil for the pumpkin that it's about to harvest. Leading up to this, lots of hard work. You did what you needed to do. We have Tivaz, which is Tyr's rune. Tyr is the warrior god, but he also has to do with taking care of duties and responsibilities and taking care of things that need to be taken care of. So you did that, and now you're in a situation where you're like, it's like you're spending the night with the thing that you're about to harvest, that you're about to cut from its growth, because you raised it for this purpose, the thing that you wanted it for. So whatever you were working on all this time, once you harvest it, it's not going to be growing anymore. It's going to be, being the thing that you raised it to be. However, at this point, in this moment, this very moment, you're sort of sitting with it and you're spending some time with it in this moment, while it is still growing and while it is still the living thing that you tended. And this could apply to anything. This could apply to a book that you're almost done writing, that you're then going to start editing. This could apply to any number of things where it was something that you were working on, to have something that you could bring through that would be nourishing and give abundance. However, you're going to have to stop the growth of it in order to do that. So you're spending some time now with it. just being with it. What's going to help is we have Gebo. Gebo's the rune of the gift. This gift is always an exchange. I do often read this as agreements, decisions, goals, and plans, and certainly that applies. However, I think the exchange in this case is you having that final exchange with the thing while it's still alive and growing. So again, to use the book example, since that's one I've lived, you're sort of just, you're having those final exchanges with it. You're writing the denouement, perhaps, and just basically having that moment with it where you're thanking it for its presence in your life all this time, while you were watching it become. And and so you're definitely doing that. At the same time, you are making plans, but there's definitely a completion happening now. It's almost like, okay, we've about completed this thing. So we're making that final connection with the thing before we're going to move forward with it, where it's going to be a different relationship between you and the thing that you created. What isn't going to help is we have Othala. Othala is the rune of the home and the homeland. This is comfort zone. It's sort of solace, sanctuary, home. It's worries about that because this is something that you've been doing for a while. This is something that you've been working on for a while, and that it's going to be difficult to step out of that because you've been working on this with a certain relationship with it for so long, and now it's not going to be the living, vibrant thing that you were dancing with all this time. It's going to be a thing that you are now going to work on and edit and like weed and whatever else you're going to do with it, cut it up for pie. And, and so it is stepping out of your comfort zone to a certain extent, but it's also where you're no longer giving safety to the thing while it grows and develops. So again, the thing that we're doing that is helping is taking this moment to spend time with this and to have those final exchanges and to, recognize the completion and to sit with that. Your next step on the path line and what is pinning the entire reading in the center is Ingvaz. Ingvaz is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Frey, and Frey is the fertility god. I read this as active creation. So this is the part where you go, okay, now we're going to work with it. We're going to start editing if it's something to edit, working, like putting it into the shape that it needs to be in. And you have to have a certain sense of removal from that, from the thing that the relationship that you had with it before in order to do that. So what's going to help at that point? We have Algi's reversed, which is the rune of the elk, and it has to do with protection and support, but you're turning it to yourself now. You're standing up and being very independent now, and that's independent of this. And it's even sort of in this modernized version of Ingvaz where it's it's got the legs. You can actually see this as two Gebos. So it's like this, you've sort of removed yourself from the thing. And what's going to help is you are standing up and you're looking at this almost from an independent standpoint from it. And that's what's going to really help, is just sort of to stand up from this. And you're not right in with it anymore. You're actually standing it up, and it's like, okay, now this is a thing that I have created and that I've brought through, but now I'm viewing it a little more objectively. What isn't going to help is it's hard to do that. You had such a good relationship with this thing the whole time you were making it happen. It becomes an almost impossible challenge because suddenly it's like it's turned its thorns to you because you're no longer intimately connected with its growth and development. So there's that, and there's also just that sense of like, how can I do this to the thing that I gave so much love to? Well, you're going to save the original version, first of all, if you can. Like, take a picture of it if it's something you're going to be actively working on. But if it's like a book, then save is like, this is the original. This is the raw, and save the raw. That will always be there. You're not going to be really. I mean, you will be going back in and writing more things if if it's a written thing. But it's like the dance that it was. That has ended. You've completed that, but the whole thing is, it just feels really, really hard to change what you were doing and suddenly have the thing not be like a part of you. It's out of you now. So what's going to help you is just basically to do that. Like, you can learning to stand on your own without it, and to look at it as a thing that's outside of you at this point. what your next step is, that's what's going to help. What your next step is on the path line is we have Pertho reversed. Pertho is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. It's reversed on the path line. That's usually inner. So you're learning about yourself things that you didn't realize were the case about yourself, but that were always the case about yourself. And this is something, as you review the thing, as you take care of the thing, you're seeing by the mark of your hand on the thing, in terms of how you see how it has become, you're going to learn things about yourself as you do this, and that's going to be a real revelation for you. What's going to help you is give it the time to do. Be still for this. Don't openly shy away from this, basically, or how do I put this? Because it is kind of. Don't run away from this process is the thing. We have Avaz reversed. Avaz is the horse. The horse is movement and spirit. So it's reversed on the upper line. If you're going to be doing a lot of running around, it's going to be internal. So this is going to be like, wow, I learned this about myself. And you're going to go internally and filing this. However, as far as sitting to the process, you're not going to drop it. You're not going to run from this. You are actually going to say, repeat after me, oh, that's very interesting. Because it will be, but it might be a bit freaky. So what isn't going to help is we have Dagaz, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. It's going to feel overwhelming. Like, it's going to feel like, here's the thing that now everybody's going to know because you put it into this thing as it was growing, and now it's out for the world to see. And you're going to be like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's a part of me that maybe I didn't realize was a part of me. And now it's on full display in the thing that you have just harvested. But what's going to help is you are going to file this, because it's not like you're not hiding from it. You're facing it. You're not running away from it, is what I'm saying. You may be cringing from it, but you're not going to be running away from it. And anything you're doing is just sort of integrating it internally. You're allowing your spirit to lead you where you need to go internally, in the vastness of your mind and the imaginal realms, and finding out about this, and also just basically integrating that, because it is what it has become. And you are now looking at this from an objective standpoint, and it's teaching you about yourself. What this is all going to lead you to is we have Berkana, which is the rune of the birch tree. This is beginnings and birth. You are basically at this point having a new beginning in your life. This is the new process. This isn't, I don't know that this is a very short time, because if you're editing and then you're learning things about yourself, this may be a longer amount of time. The thing about any form of divination is that in general, you're not going to get the time indicated in calendars and clocks. You're going to get it in terms of events. So this happens, then this happens. But after this part where you go, oh, that about me, you're going to have a new beginning. You're going to have a new birth in your life. You're going to rebirth. And that's actually going to integrate what you didn't know was a part of you until it was outside of you, which is quite neat. But yeah, everything after that point is a new you. It's a new rebirth, and you're moving forward in a new beginning. Maybe you're going to continue to work on this, or maybe you're going to start a new this. But either way, it's a new beginning after that point. So that, card number 1, people, is your reading for first harvest. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 2, people. I should say this a little bit later, just in case, because I find, like, when I do the timestamps for this, if I start the words like immediately, then it's really hard for me to start to catch the timestamp for it without showing a bit of the last reading. So, but now I've ruined it because I've just talked over this whole thing. So we're going to see what we can do with this, but I have to remember. Anyway, those of you who chose card number 2, which is the seasonal harvest from the Everyday Witch Oracle, I am using the Elder Futhark on bone. So let's see what the message is for this. Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. That's really neat. That was actually the last rune in the last reading that I did. So I am mixing them, by the way. As always, they get mixed, but messages that need to come through. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Doopy-doo. So yes, because I was doing all the Lughnasadh stuff, I actually didn't get to do a reading yesterday. On my lunch break, when I normally do the little video readings, I was like wriggling into my into my ceremonial garb and lighting a candle and collecting like piece of bread and stuff. Anyway, not pizza bread, a piece of bread and a blueberry. And anyway, central issue for card number 2 is Berkana. Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. This is beginnings and birth. So this is referring to the moment when the thing has finally come through. Leading up to this, we have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. This is the nature part. This is the part where you were letting nature happen. But now, and this, a lot of it, like most of this was out of your control. This part here, leading up to this moment, most of it was out of your control. Like you were sort of keeping an eye on it, but it's just basically now the part where it is being born, where the harvest is happening. That's where you're at now. And it's kind of like, it was a timing thing. I think we had a little video earlier within the past couple weeks where it was like, no, do it now, do it immediately. Like this, you can't wait a moment longer. And that's the kind of thing. It's like nature. Okay, now the birth happens. Whatever birth this is, whatever harvest this is that's happening. It's no longer living the life that it was living on its own by nature. It's now becoming in your hand the things. So what's going to help you with that is, it's tremendous. It's a huge revelation. It's the breaking of the day. We have Dagas, so it's the breaking of the day. It's the dawn. It's just this huge illumination moment where here it is and it's everything. So you let it have that. Let it have that, because that's really important, and that's part of the birth. It's the angels coming down with the long trumpets and doing the glory to the harvest thing. But let that happen and enjoy that, and allow yourself to see all of it, because all of it will be visible as your entire field of vision. And so let it be everything for that moment. What isn't going to help is, this is not the time for you to, how do I put this? So we have algaes, which is the rune of the elk, and this, or the moose, and this has to do with protection and support. I am getting the sense of everything rushing in and like taking over on this, and it's not really what that means. I mean, it is what it means, but it's like it's a kind of a weird read on it. It's kind of like we're having nature, and then like, okay, now all the support's going to come in and take care of it. But it's like right now we need to have this moment of the glory of it, the glory of the beginning happening, of the birth happening, of the harvest happening. I haven't seen a harvest rune yet, actually, in these readings yet. We'll see, hopefully. But then it's just this sense of, don't too abruptly end the natural progress of it. The birth is huge, and you are a part of that, and celebrate it with that. But to immediately rush in and take over is going to be very, very jarring. For both of you, for both you and the thing that you've been working on all this time, that is now having its moment of glory. Let it have its moment of glory, because as we were saying in the introduction, there is that edge to the whole harvest thing, which is that in its grandest moment, we're killing it. You know, like in the moment when it's perfect, we're cutting it down. We're ending we're ending its ongoing life, so that we can eat it and we can take it in and have it keep us alive. So there is that sense of that, where here it is in its moment of glory. Be there for its moment of glory, and let this be the part of the moment of glory. Well, take a moment in it. Like, take that moment for that moment. Don't rush in immediately and take over. So that's not what's going to help. Your next step on the path line, and what is pinning the entire reading, is that moment that you need to step in now and change the dynamic. So we have Thurizaz, which is the rune of the thorn, the giant, the gateway. It is the challenge rune. It is an open door. It's a threshold. So at this point, you are going to end its natural path. You're going to step into a new realm with it, the whole new thing about it. You're going to harvest the thing at this point. So this isn't actually the harvest, this is the moment, but then we enjoy and celebrate the moment, and then we cut it, which is what's pinning the entire reading. This whole shift of the dynamic from allowing something to become to its becoming, and then we shift the whole dynamic. This is where we actually cross the threshold. We harvest it, we cut it, we put it in the basket, we bring it in to dry or preserve or eat. And so it's a whole change. It's a big change. And it's, and there is always going to be that moment of, it's so beautiful and I don't want to do this, but this is what it was for. So what's going to help you at this point? We have Avaz reversed. Avaz is the rune of the horse. The horse is movement and also spirit. This actually appeared as a helper in the last reading for pretty much the same reason, is don't run from this. Sit with it and have it be a thing that you're sitting to. If you're going to do any running, do it internally, but it's basically like let your spirit lead, tap into intuition possibly, like let your spirit give you the timing of it, but it's going to be like you're going to sit to it. You're going to sit and you're going to do this. You're not going to run from that. You're not going to delay it. You're going to delay leaving it. You're going to sit. What isn't going to help is don't give up. Like don't drop your farm implement at this point. So we have Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. Tyr is the warrior god. He has to do with duties and responsibilities and taking care of what needs to be taken care of. He's reversed in the lower line. So it's like, don't not do it. This is the moment. You had that celebration moment where it was in its wonderful glory and you were there with it. And now you're going to say, okay, now we harvest. We harvest it at its peak, at its best. And so putting your sword down at this point and not doing it is obviously not going to be a problem, because if you leave it past that, then it will just rot or go to seed and it won't be as nourishing or good. So you have to do it. Whatever it is we're talking about, it may not be like gardening. It may be something else, like a story you were working on, or some piece of art that you were working on, or any other thing that you were working on that was like you were allowing to develop naturally, and now it's reached its peak, and now that's where you collect it and you gather it. So don't give up at this point when you actually have to do the harvest part. Instead, just sit to it and let yourself be guided by spirit as far as whatever spirit is for you internally as to how you're going to do it, but do sit with it. Do sit to it and sit with it and make it happen. Cross that threshold. Your next step on the path line, and after this, is Manas reversed. Manas is the rune of humanity and your part in it. You know this thing. You know this thing because you were with it like the whole time. Maybe you didn't have it wasn't as hands-on a development as other things may have been, but you were with it the whole time. So you know it very, very, very well. This rune is Manas reversed. It's humanity and your part in it. It's reversed on the path line. So this is basically saying nobody else but you will know how to deal with this. We'll know how to take care of it at this point. We'll know how to treat it and know how to work with it. And you will be the one making the decisions about it, this thing that you have harvested. What's going to help is we have Pertho reversed. Pertho is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. Reversed, it has to do with surprises about yourself. This is inner. So basically, and this rune showed up in the previous one as well in exactly the same aspect, not in the same position. But basically, what you learn about yourself through this is going to help you know what to do with this without anybody else's input. It's going to be all you doing that. So let it teach you about you, and let it teach you internally. Let it reveal to you internally by how you resonate to it, how you're going to deal with it. And again, you're tuning out the din of humanity on this. You're not going to look up like, oh, other people in this situation, because honestly, nobody else has ever been in this situation. This is your thing. What isn't going to help is we have Ansuz, which is the rune of humanity. I'm looking at Manas. It's Ansuz, it's the rune of communication, manifestation, and expression. This, as this says, and as this says, you're not going to be turning around and saying, hey, this thing that I intimately developed by myself and allowed to become, and that I harvested I was so in tune with it that I harvested at its peak, and now it's in my hands. What do you think I should do with it? It's like, no, you know how to do that. Like, if you do this at this point, it takes it away from you, and it belittles your inherent knowledge about the thing, because really only you know how to deal with this. And if you're at any kind of a loss, turn back inward and consult with spirit. That's there. Whatever spirit is for you, it will guide you. You were resonant with this for a long time. So bring yourself back up to this, where you are letting things be revealed and letting those revelations be internal. And that's your answer. That's the answer you need. It's not going to come from outside. Your final rune in this spread is Gebo. Gebo is the rune of the gift. This has to do with agreements, decisions, goals, and plans. It's always an exchange, and it does also have to do with completion. At this point, you will have completed the process. You will be able to check it off your to-do list. There will be sort of an exchange happening continually with this thing that you had this connection with, but it's also time now for you to start making new decisions and setting new goals and making new plans. But ultimately, it does lead to the completion. It's going from it goes from the natural growth of it, letting the nature happen, to the birth of it, to the changing of the dynamic, to listening to yourself as to what needs to be done with it, and then you've completed it. You did it. So that's neat. So that is your reading for first harvest. So, and it's not your first harvest, but it's your first harvest of the thing you were working on, your harvest reading. So I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 3 people. So let's move this card over here. This is the corn card from the Forest Magic deck. It has to do with not only like fertility and abundance, but also safety, because when you had the corn, then you were safe for the winter because you had food. So that's sort of the thing with it. But let's see what the runes have to say, what the runes have to add, the message that wants to come through about this. Oh my gosh, that was our central issue in the reading that I just did, which is neat. I am mixing these so hard, like I'm shaking it like shake and bake. I am not affiliated with Shake and Bake, but anyway, it's just funny. Maybe next time I'll just stick my hand in. No, because we're getting new runes. It's just, Right. Okay. Your central issue, card number 3, people. We have Berkana. Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. It has to do with beginnings and birth. You're actually watching this become now. You're watching this in its moment of birth, of beginning. I think this basically is like the one that I just did. This isn't the moment of harvest. This is, or maybe no. I think this is so. But because you've worked for this. So leading up to this, we have Ingvaz, which is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Freya, and Freya just so happens to be the fertility god, so this is perfect for this kind of thing. You made this happen. You planted it. You set it in motion. It's active creation. So you put it in the ground, and you watered it and put sunlight on it and did all the things you needed to do. And now it is becoming. It is the moment of birth. It's the birth moment. It's the beginning and the birth. So what's going to help you is let nature happen in this moment. This is extremely important. Do not pull on it in the ground so that it grows faster, because it's not going to, you're just going to hurt it, and you don't want to hurt it yet. You do unfortunately want to hurt it, but that's when it reaches its perfect moment. So let nature happen. We have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. I often read this as chaos and things that are out of your control, but it is nature. It's definitely like nature. It's also weather, but let nature happen in this moment where the thing is becoming, it is birthing, and you're seeing it happen right now. It's getting to the point where it's at its perfect moment, that you raised it to become, and then you're going to harvest it. But it's got to be that moment. You've got to know the right moment. What isn't going to help you? We have Avaz reversed. Avaz is the rune of the horse. Has to do with movement and spirit. Because it leads from this, and you sort of feel like there's a sense of worrying about stopping this process. So the horse is reversed on the lower line. So the horse's movement, if it's reversed, it is inner, but it's in the lower line, which is worries about things. And anyway, I'm just seeing this as stopping, not helping you. Stopping is not going to help you. Digging, like giving yourself a halt at this point is not going to help you. And you might be tempted to do so because you took really good care of this and you don't really feel like cutting it down, but it's what you raised it for. Something, if you need it to, if it's going to be something that's going to give nourishment, you're going to have to cut it out of where it was growing so it can feed you and whoever else you're feeding with it. So don't not do it. Don't stop at this point. Don't just stop at this point. Because it's even like if you leave it, then it just like rots. So don't do that. Let nature happen. Become in tune with that and watch this development, because you're going to need to be there for the moment that it's ready, and you're not going to want to drop that. You're not going to want to drop that proverbial ball. So your next step on the path line, and what is pinning the entire reading, is Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. This is strength and health, and I guess resistance and stubbornness. I'm going to stick with the strength and health thing, though, because we're cutting it at this point. So we have Uruz reversed. We are cutting it off at its prime. We're cutting it down. And it's still inherently good. It's got all of its goodness in it. It's got all of its healthfulness in it. It's got all of its strength in it. And it's just fortified with all the goodness. But this is the moment that you're stopping it. You're stopping its forward growth. You're cutting it. What's going to help you is to just be still with it. Like, have that moment of, this is it. This and no further. Stop. Like, we're going to do this. And so it's basically, and you're going to have that sense of clarity because you were tuned into the nature of it. So Isa is the rune of ice. It has to do with stillness and standstill. It's the stillness through which clarity comes. You're going to get that moment of clarity, and then you're going to cut it while it's in its prime, in its peak condition. The exact moment you're going to cut it. What isn't going to help is there's a certain comfort zone that you're overstepping at this point. Like you were giving this all the comfort and protection and sanctuary and everything up until this point, and you were used to it. It was a comfort zone for you as well. But now you have to cut it, because if you don't, it's just gonna rot. It's gonna go to seed, and it's not going to be good. Right now it's perfect. You have to do it. So you are going to be tempted, but make sure that you become cold, unfortunately, in this moment, so that you can do this, so that it retains all of its best bits, like all of its nourishment and everything, whatever it is you're working on. I mean, this might not be plants. This could be something else you were working on. This could be something you're creating, and it's like this far and no farther. We did it. This is the moment. Your next step on the path line, we have Ansuz reversed. Ansuz is the rune of communication, manifestation, and expression. It's reversed on the path line. So I'm going to read this a couple ways. First of all, have inner communication with yourself about this. Even have inner communication with this thing that you've just pulled or that you've just cut. But have that inner communication. Listen is the other thing. Pay attention. Let things show you, audibly or otherwise, what you need to see. What's going to help you with that is connect to source, whatever source is for you. Yes, I know this is a weird looking Sovilo, but it's Sovilo. It's the Sovilo of this deck. I suppose you could make it look like this, but all the other ones are portrait format, so we're going to leave it. Whatever source is for you, tap into that. Tap into your source energy. Whatever it is that whenever you access it is going to energize you or nourish you. But connect to that. Connect to source. Connect to source for a number of reasons. I mean, one of the things about this is that this is what's in here. This was what went into this to grow it. So you're sort of turning inward and you're looking at this. Maybe you eat this at this point and you're listening inside. You're allowing this to express itself inside, and that's the connection to source that's coming in. But either way, at this stage is a very quiet listening stage. There's inner communication going on, but it's not like you're not telling things to be a thing that they're not. And you are connecting to source. That's going to help you the most. Like even just getting past the fact that you feel bad for cutting the thing, which is what this is about. We have Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth, reversed in the lower line. You're worried about it being not worthy, and you're worried about having cut it at a point where it wasn't worth anything, or maybe that all your work was worth nothing because now you've cut it. All that kind of swirling stuff, and bring yourself back up to connecting with source energy, because that's gonna realign you to your purpose. And so as you are listening and as you are sitting with this and allowing the expression within of this, and its manifestation as well, I'm actually going to put, do I have time for this? Yes, of course I have time. I have all the time I need. It's my video. Yes, and allowing that to open out. And yeah, so yeah, because if it's not worth anything, that you don't know what else you could have done. Like, this is Thurisaz's reverse, so it's the challenge. It would have been impossible to do any better than you did, and yet if it wasn't worth it, then what was it? Bring yourself back up to source energy. It was worth that. It was worth that connection to source, and you can expand your field of vision on this. See the bigger picture on this, and just see how much of source went into this and how much that's going to be nourishing and good. So even though you have to sit with it for a minute and just listen, let that come in. What this is all going to lead you to is we have Dagaz, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. This is the dawn breaks, and you have suddenly your entire field of vision is illuminated. This is the fulfillment. This is the vanquisher of darkness. So this is basically, it's good. And maybe this was just the first one, and then everything else follows. So either way, this is the sun, this is the dawn, and it's just basically this that you've pulled through is now releasing its goodness. As it needed to, because this is what you raised it for. So whatever you raised this for is now giving out its goodness. So that was a very interesting reading. So that is your reading for Harvest Reading. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello. Welcome to those of you who chose card number 4, which is the Lady of the Harvest from the Fairy Oracle by Brian Froud. I am going to draw some runes about this, but it's basically this moment, and this actually captures a lot of what we were talking about that's where it's not entirely a joyous thing. There is that edge to it where it is very aware that we are, in order to cut the harvest, we are cutting off the life of what was growing, but it's so that it can feed us, so that we can continue, and that's what we grew it for. So let's get some runes down. Dee doopy doo. I hope you are well. I hope things are going well for you, wherever you are and whatever you are doing. So yes, this is the Elder Futhark on bone. I thought it was fitting, given that edge that we just discussed. That wants to come out. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. So our central issue for this spread is Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth. Reversed, I'm going to read this a couple ways. First, it has to do with, it's like we're wondering about the worth of the thing, because we have grown it, and it was grown, and we did the thing, but now we have to cut it, and so what was it for, kind of thing. Well, we know what it was for. And also there's that sense of, how do I find the confidence to do this? How dare I, but also how do I reconcile this with myself? I nurtured this, I took care of this, and now I'm killing it, but it's so that we can all live and eat. And this is what I grew it for. And besides which, if I left it, it would just rot or go to seed or whatever. But there's that whole difficulty that comes of this, where it's like you have to be a little bit harsh, and that's nature, and that's life. So leading up to this, we have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. The gift is always an exchange. It's agreements, decisions, goals, and plans, but it is also definitely the exchange, and it's also completion. So you've done this thing. This was a thing that you set a goal to do, and you've done it, and you did it, but now you're sort of like, man, am I a good person? Because that was, I took such good care of all of this as I was bringing it up to be the thing I needed it to be, and now I am basically killing it and cutting it down in its most wonderful moment, in its most glorious moment. And so there is that question happening. It's like, this is something we have to work on in our heads and hearts, and that's what's going to help us, because what is going to help us in this line is Thurisaz's reverse. Thurisaz is the rune of the thorn, the giant, the gateway. It is the challenge, and it's reversed on the upper line, so it's always a challenge, but when it's reversed, it's a thorn wall kind of challenge. This is something that is going to be very difficult and tricky and like prickly to deal with and to work with, and it's something that you really have to, and it's something that you are embracing because that's what you need to do. It helps you is to embrace this and to just sort of work through it and sit with it in your mind and go, I'm not sure I'm really okay with this because I worked so hard to make it be, and now I'm cutting it down and destroying it so that I can eat. And that's important, and that's why I did it. But I'm still killing a thing that trusted me. I don't know how much corn trusts you. I guess it would have to if you're raising it and taking care of it very carefully. But, it's all of that stuff. So it's a really interesting thing to chew on. And so that's the sort of thing. It's like if you're worried about your worth because of this, it's worth it to just spend some time with it. You're going to work through it. It's okay. You are going to, it is something that you're going to work on and you're going to incubate and you're going to think about because it's something that we should be thinking about, So what, because you got to do it or else we won't live. So what isn't going to help is we have Uruz, which is the rune of the wild ox. This is strength and health and stubbornness. And I'm going to read this a couple ways, but there's the whole thing is like the thing was strong, it was healthy, and we're cutting it down in its prime. But there's also that sense of you may then feel resistant to doing this, having this moment where we're cutting the thing down. But you did this. This was important. This was the agreement. This was the plan. And you do the thing where, you have to face this. And it's also a question of, am I strong enough to cut it down? Do I have that strength? Do I have that resilience? No, what's the word I want? This is resilience. But just the stick-to-itiveness and the ability to just be very blunt and do the thing. Bring yourself back up to this. It's like work through it in your head, have it in there. Like have this as like, okay, I'm going to think about this later, but now is the time we have to do this. Your next step on the path line, we have Graido reversed, and that is the rune of the journey. Reversed, it can be an absolute end, so it's generally the end of a journey. So if I had to place the harvest itself anywhere, this was the thing being completed. This is you having your moral dilemma, and then this is you actually cutting the harvest. So this is where you end the journey of the thing. This is where you end the chapter. So, but it's also an inner journey that you are taking at this point because it's continuing forward from that. But really, then you will, once you've had this moment, and please let it only be a moment because this is only ready for a little bit of time. We want to get it at its best. Then we end the journey. We end the chapter. And we had this rune as the helper rune in a previous reading. And it's ice. So I'm going to read this a couple ways, the same way as I did in the other one. You have to be a little bit cold at this point. You have to say, okay, this is what has to be done, and you have to cut it. But you also have to, you're sort of waiting for the clarity of the moment for exactly the moment to do it. So A, the read on Isa as the stillness through which clarity comes, but also B, just straight up cold. You have to let yourself be cold on this and just end the journey of the growth. And then this is the moral dilemma part. This is the part where you don't want to do that. This is the part where you have to just be cold and like set this on a back burner for a little bit so that you can pick it up later, perhaps. Because you have to cut it at this point. Like this is the point where it's ready. So you have to end its journey. What isn't going to help is we have Ansu's reversed. Ansu is the rune of communication and manifestation. And as I said, this is not the time to do that moral dilemma, inner voice round and round. That's actually going to delay you when you need to cut it at the exact moment. So try not to let yourself get lost in that or else you'll miss your moment. But also, the word blame is coming up. Don't do that. Just let yourself be cold, watch for the right moment, and end the journey. Like, just remove yourself a little bit from it and just do the thing. You got to do it. And this is what pins the entire reading, this moment where you're ending the journey for the thing. Your next rune is on the path line is Kaunaz reversed. Kaunaz is the rune of the torch or the fire. This is when it is upright, it's expansion, it's opening out. When it's reversed, it's honing a focus. So you're eliminating distractions, you're moving forward. And again, all the stuff that you were worried about, all the moral stuff, you're going to eliminate the distractions from. You're just sort of like just going to focus on what needs to be done at this point. what is going to help you, and this is interesting. So acknowledge uncomfortable emotions. Acknowledge them, but surf them. It's like you're going to let them flow as the river that they are under the surface. But you're going to acknowledge them, but you're not going to let them become you. You're also going to seek your deep inner heart on this, because that's going to help you. And your deep inner heart is probably going to be like, yeah, honor it, understand and acknowledge. But you had to do it, and you will understand this. What isn't going to help is you're leaving your comfort zone on this, because you worked on this really hard. This was your entire focus for a long time, and this is when you completed it. So there's that sense of we're leaving our comfort zone. We're taking this out of its comfort zone, whatever it is that you're harvesting. If you've anthropomorphized it in any way, or if you are very animistic, as I am, and you feel it, you have that feeling for that, and you resonate with it as another consciousness, even if it's just projections of self, projections of aspects of self, you're going to have that you're dealing with. So you're feeling like you're leaving a comfort zone. You're feeling like you're letting go of something that you wanted to keep, that was a part of what you considered home. This is all the stuff, but you really have to, center yourself, connect with heart, acknowledge the emotions that you're having, but also surfing them, like letting them flow. That's important, because you can't be distracted at this point. And what this is all going to lead you to is we have Ingvaz. Ingvaz is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Frey, and Frey is the fertility god. So this is very appropriate. He does have to do with active creation, but in this, it's that whole thing about, this is where you're creating. You're setting this aside, and you're preparing it, and this is what the harvest is all about. You're bringing this stuff through. I did see this I think it was the first reading I did in this session, where this modernized version of Ingvaz, which has the legs on it, looks like two gaybos. So it looks like this. You had this purpose, which was united and in exchange with the thing you were growing, and by the end of it, you've separated from it. This is the thing that you grew, and this is the thing that you are. And you are now separate because you brought it through. It's an independent thing now. You are no longer nurturing it. It's something that is existing as a different thing from what it was when it was growing. It is a completed thing, and you are now working with that as who you are. You have a new agreement with it, which, if it's like actually a harvest, then it's food. So that is your very interesting reading about the harvest. So I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.